The lesson will begin with a welcome to country to ensure that all Indigenous people are respected and feel a connection to country, culture, and ancestors. This is to integrate the social and emotional well-being in the lesson. Then I'll introduce the cycles of Earth and space resource. This is aimed to unravel a discussion between the students as it integrates Indigenous perspectives and common science perspectives on land and sea and the classification on living organisms through flora and fauna. After I have taken them through some of the content surrounding this resource, they will watch a video narrated by a local Indigenous elder who explains and shares her knowledge on the land and sea um, and the management of it. Following on from this, I will delegate the group into groups to continue and further this discussion whilst completing worksheets designed around questions about Aboriginals' perspectives on the environment and the history and culture that is encapsulated in the land. Once time has elapsed for this work to be done, a final discussion will take place, where students can voice their opinion and theories around the country and help better understand both perspectives. When local history and culture is taught in schools, it creates a sense of security and respected community in the school, where Indigenous students can feel a sense of belonging and identity and welcome them to think critically about further issues and deeper issues that are still lingering. Without this sense of belonging or identity, nothing else will facilitate this, but to encourage integrating local Indigenous history and culture. Furthermore, this explains that these students will become fully engaged in the curriculum and the work that is ahead of them. This wonderful culture in the classroom has all students feel respected and understood and safe, that they commit and engage in the classroom. This highlights the importance and advantages of using local Indigenous elders from the community. As they share this knowledge, they will instill confidence and a sense of belonging in their community and country. This is a great way to show first-hand perspective to all students in the classroom. This is achieved initially by beginning the class with the welcome to country, the Indigenous people in the class, and welcome not just them, but who they represent with their individual identities and their cultural identities. Integrated in this is their different languages. In the video, In the video resource, the elder sheds light on the uniqueness and the treasure and privilege Indigenous people have with their unique languages. This welcome to country maintains the special and unique responsibility that Indigenous people have to their land. It shows that in the classroom and education system, we respect the culture and history of Indigenous people, that we firstly recognize them and their ancestors before beginning studies. The video showed a local elder. This is a great way for Indigenous students to see another elder as an example to them, to be open to sharing their perspective in the classroom, which is culturally safe and competent environment, to express stories and history and culture about their family or kin. Through these different stories and history, it's feasible to understand that throughout these Indigenous communities there is major diversity, and they all have unique and wonderful stories and individual identities, and they are all celebrated and welcomed in the classroom. The social and emotional well-being of Indigenous students is the absolute priority of educators and teachers, and when the resources that are linked to culture, country, family, and kinship, community, and ancestors, it's a great step to ensuring that Indigenous students feel culturally safe and feel that reconciliation is creeping closer. Through this culturally competent classroom led by the teacher. 8 Ways of Learning is another great tool to ensure this is happening as we incorporate this framework into the lesson plan, like using symbols and images, non-verbal learning maps, story sharing, community links, deconstruct and reconstruct, non-linear and land links. Land links and non-verbal are 2 ways that we have incorporated this in our lesson, as we have discussed the Aboriginal history and culture of the land through Aboriginal perspectives from elders that are locally sourced. This significantly assists the learning and their social and emotional well-being, as Indigenous students learn and develop through ways that feel a part of who they are in their identities.